But we're back. It's been how many years?
6 years.
6 years. Can't believe it. We're back to the first actual site. And it's just so amazing to be here again. It's the 13th of May, 2023, and we're heading out on an expedition. We're jumping on a flight from Nairobi to Kilimanjaro, and then it's an 8-hour drive through the expansive Rift Valley, past the Ngorongoro crater and the cradle of mankind. So we're on the shore of Lake Eyasi, and behind me are the Kidero Mountains, the home of the Hadza, and where we recorded those rock gongs all those many years ago. But we've come back with much better gear. Now we're actually prepared for it. But it's also really important for us to be able to spend time with the Hadza, spend time with the elders, and actually understand the significance of the rock gongs and what it means to their culture. And hopefully, actually, there's other sites with other rock gongs that we'll hopefully get permission to go in and record. So it's super exciting. We still have a couple more hours to drive before we set up camp. It's a tough drive into the mountains, but the scenery is stunning. It's exciting being back here with this project. But since it's so remote, our first priority is to build our camp for the next few days.
We are offloading camp.
We made it. When you're out in the bush, you have to bring everything with you, especially in areas such as these, which are not open to mass tourism. Not many outfitters have close connections with the Hadza that call this area home, so it was vital we came in with an organization that has a relationship with the community here. Part of the camping fees are set aside as conservation fees that help conserve their land and way of life, without pressure from the outside world. There's little to no signal here, and most of the Hadza don't have phones. It's not part of their hunter-gatherer culture, and also, there's no power out here. When we were last here and I made Lamope, I had recorded the main vocal and whistle with a Hadza elder called Mahia. Although we had been trying to get in touch with him, there was no way of finding him. It's crazy how the world works, as when we drove into camp, he was there, sitting under a tree, curious about who was coming in. A big part of the reason why we are back here is to bring the music back to the people we recorded it with, to make sure they were happy with the music I had made, and also to continue building our relationship. We couldn't have come in ourselves, and we were lucky to have been connected to Mika Peterson, who's been coming here since he was a child, and his family's organization, the Dorobo Foundation, was instrumental in helping to secure the land rights for the Hadza.
I've been coming out just to visit the Hadza since I was quite a young man, earlier than 10. And yeah, my dad went to boarding school just south of here in Kiamboy. So while he was in boarding school, they would come up with a dorm parent and come to hunt, just because this area had plentiful wildlife. And those were his first introductions with the Hadza. So that fascination and relationship started to grow from that period. That later on, it actually was the Hadza that came to visit him in Arusha and said, you know, we have a lot of land pressure. Can you help us legally, like we've heard you've helped some Maasai, to help gain control of our land? Without land and without the wildlife, they wouldn't be able to sustain their way of life. Well, they're very passive people, and they avoid conflict. Even internally, if there's a disagreement, they would rather move than confront that conflict. So with population pressures of different tribes, you've got the Iraq to the east, you've got the Sukuma, Wairamba in the south, you've got the Datoga that came in from the east and the north. So they kept moving into traditional areas where the Hadza would rely on hunting and gathering. Here you can see the different colors, and these are pretty much land use plans that are designed to help villages regulate the land use. but the more important ones that the UCRT helped obtain for the Hadza are these lighter green, which are the 3, and then later on, these smaller ones were added on in Mangola. And that was the first time any tribe was actually given a title for land.
It's been a long day, and finally camp is set up. It's a bit surreal, but our campsite is at the base of the big outcrop where we stumbled upon the rock gongs all those years ago. As the sun sets, we head up to the gongs with Mahia and Matayo, another elder from the Epeme, which is akin to their spiritual leadership. However, to become part of the Epeme, it's not about age, but about being socially mature, confident but not proud, and being known to follow the dictates of equality. And also by having common sense, something modern society as a whole could learn from. We're up on the outcrop, and Mahia and Matayo start playing the gongs, telling us about the mother and father rock and just how important these gongs are to Hadza culture.
Pindi tunavyosema sasa, labda nimeenda kupata shida, na ndani ya kupata shida kwangu nikawa nimezunguka, nikawa nimeelekezwa kwamba nenda kwenye matambiko ya kwenu. Hata kama ningekuwa Arusha labda, lakini sasa pakawa pamelenga, nenda kwenye matambiko ya kwenu, lazima nitakuja hapa. Kutoka Arusha nitakuja mpaka hapa, nitakuja kufanya mambo yangu ya kugonga gonga kama tulivyo jaribu hapa. Nitagonga gonga, nitaendelea kuongea mambo yangu, labda nilipata shida ya namna gani nitasema, na shida yangu hiyo itasaidika.
What was also incredible is at this moment, without us knowing, they were introducing us to the ancestors and seeking permission and blessings for our project.
The sun is literally just about to crest over the east there, and it's looking beautiful up on the rock. The amazing thing is it's like, 6 in the morning, it's lovely and calm. So we're gonna set up all the microphones, and luckily the rock gongs are just a stone throw from our camp, so we're gonna go set up and mic them and record them. And hopefully the wind won't interfere with our plans this time.
When we were here last time, we were guiding a safari, and that was the first time I heard a rock gong. We weren't prepared to record and had very little time to do so, but I managed to capture some sounds with my small iPhone mic. Now, thanks to a grant from the National Geographic Society, we are back here with state-of-the-art recording gear to record the gongs in the highest quality audio, so we can capture their true tonality.
So let's go see where we're going to put this microphone. Slightly precarious, but
Mika joins us as we need a second set of hands. There are lots of cables and microphones, and moving around on this small ledge can be a bit hairy. Also, each rock has a unique sound that varies depending on which part of the rock is hit. So we need more than one person to hit the gongs while I record. This also meant we could play with some interesting double tapping and rhythms. Some of the gongs are in quite precarious positions, which leads to some interesting situations and a few hiccups.
Is that our hammerstone?
Yeah.
All this gonging attracts the attention of Magwasa and Masad, who come to check out what's going on. They join in and start gonging as I record, and then it turns into a really fun session as we switch up roles, taking turns to listen and play. Just before they leave, though, they have one final request.
Yo, nimeishapata.
Nataka tusikilize jioni sauti wetu.
Sawa sawa.
So we're just about to show the video that we recorded when we were here last. And it's amazing, we have some of the people who we were with. And then we're going to play the song, which is really exciting. Having now understood the true importance of the rock gongs, I was feeling a little nervous, but it was the perfect setting. As dusk settles in, it's finally time to play the track. How cool is this? So they loved the track so much that they listened to it for 4 hours on repeat. And Mahia became somewhat of a celebrity. To the sound of Lamope on repeat, we drift off to sleep as we have a big day ahead of us tomorrow. We have been invited by the Epeme to visit Dundube, the most sacred of gong sites, a site we've heard about but have never been able to visit. So the sun is about to peek over the horizon. Well, I think it's still about 20 minutes away. But we're getting up early and we're going to drive out a little bit and start our trek. The Hadza have been telling us it's a super sacred site for them, but it's the big Rock Gong. It's a bit of a drive to reach the point where we start our trek. And en route, Magwasa can't help but try and catch some breakfast.
Look at it.
But instead, he becomes prey. After finding a suitable tree to park under, we gather our gear and head off.
Ready to go?
Ready to go.
All the gear and no idea.
We start early to try cover as much distance before the heat of the day, knowing we have a long, hot trek back. The landscapes are stunning as we descend the rolling hills into the valleys below. However, it's not all as wild as we expect. It's not yet peak dry season, and we're starting to see signs of encroachment. We eventually bump into the herd of culprits.
As you can see here, we've got a lot of the Toga cattle. Goja namalizia. And this time of year, this is a Hadza traditional land use zone. Usually they're not supposed to be in here till July. And then they can come again after the first rains. They're supposed to be out as well. So they're only supposed to get the peak dry season and have access to this area.
The difference in areas where the cattle have been grazing is stark. And as we press on, we come across more and more cattle. So the rock gongs are on that hill. We're
We're just going to go around and then climb up from the other side. But we're almost there.
As we get closer to the hill where the rock gongs are, the vegetation gets thicker. So we are happy we're being guided by members of the Epeme, because it's easy to get lost here. We have also heard stories of those who come without blessings, experiencing strange encounters involving dangerous snakes. This giant python scat is just an example of what lies unseen.
It's heavy. So this is some pretty big python. I wonder what the snake looks like.
There's a whole troop of baboons up there, but the gongs are up there and you can actually just about see already the tap marks. We're going to have to figure out a way up, but it's a massive outcrop. It's incredible.
Out of respect, we leave our shoes at the base and follow Magwata, who ran up to try and catch a tasty baboon. The sheer rock face is so impressive and incredibly steep. We carefully start our trek to the top and find the first gong.
This is where you need BTS.
One more spin for us, please, Elke.
The large father rock, called Panaqueta, got dislodged only a few years ago and rolled away from the family to where it lies now, cracked in half from its tumble. The last section is the steepest, but the view from the top is breathtaking. You couldn't imagine a more perfect view for such a sacred site.
So before we came up here, Mahir asked for permission from the elders. He went and did a prayer and talked to them and asked if we could come up, and it's all good. So we're allowed to be up here. But it's very important that you respect the culture of the people that these are sacred to. And we're super privileged that we've been allowed to come up here and play these incredible sounding gongs. It's such an incredible, it's like metallic. It's so metallic. Yeah.
These gongs are unlike anything we have come across before. The range of tones is impressive, and with the depth of some of the cupules, you can see that these gongs have been used for hundreds, if not thousands of years. With the sun already high in the sky, we get to work recording the gongs.
The wind is already picking up, but I've got the dynamic mic is going to be here, and I think for these ones I'm going to walk around a little bit with the Sennheiser and see how it sounds. I think we got it. The wind actually stopped for a little bit there, so I think that's a wrap on these incredible rocks. The day is heating up, so it's about time we get back to camp, because we've got probably another 6.5 km to get back to camp over quite rough terrain, and it's going to be hot, and we have limited water, enough to get us back there. But, you know, better to get out of the heat of the day here, because it's starting to get roasty.
I can't help but go and look at the view one last time, and in the process find another smaller gong which Mahir wasn't aware of. You can tell that it hasn't been played in a long time from the color of the cupules. It's getting late, but I pull out the microphones one last time to capture its sound. Satisfied and hot, we start our trek back to the car, hoping our shoes are still there and not with the baboons. When you come into communities in areas like these, you don't want to be too disruptive of people's day-to-day lives. But with Mika's connection to the community and our relationship with Mahia, we had a full day where we could just hang out and learn more about the culture and way of life. It's a privilege to have time with this incredible culture that you can learn so much from. Their balance with nature and how they utilize their environment sustainably. Environments and cultures we need to protect. After spending the day with Mahia's family, we invited them to a choma, which is a barbecue, so we could spend our last evening together. Hadza rave, Hadza rave, Hadza rave, Hadza rave.
Is that how last night was?
That's how last night went. Basically, we started off with Lomope and that went on for about an hour. And then we all went around the fire and it was basically just a giant Hadza rave. But something that, you know, is just not forced and just happened and was so much fun. And then so many different songs came out and Alka was in it, jamming away. Mika was in it, jamming away. The only way to kind of describe it is like that Russian dance. But I think Mika is the squat master. Don't you think?
I'm up there.
He's up there. Definitely squat
It's
master.
the frog dance, isn't it?
Oh, it's the frog dance.
Kind of like frog kick in the water.
The frog kicking in the water. Just all around an incredible evening. And we got some really cool recordings. I can't wait to get back into studio and actually listen to it all and start making the next tunes. We couldn't have asked for a more incredible trip back here. For one thing, we've actually really understood the meaning of these rock gongs here and just how special and important they are to the Hadza community. I mean, we've learned so much, and the fact that we were allowed also to go to the other side in Dubai was in itself just an incredible experience, and to document that. But more so just to spend time with the people here, that has really been the most important part of this, and learning from such an incredible culture. And I think one big takeaway is, you know, it's about the people, it's about the story behind the music. You know, you can create incredible music, but at the end of the day, without people to enjoy it, what is it?